Here tonight, Porsche Penske Motorsport is withdrawing from the FIA World Endurance Championship at the end of the year. What's next for the Porsche 963 prototype? Jaguar TCS Racing signed Antonio Felix da Costa to its Formula E driver lineup. Will he and Mitch Evans be the strongest driver pairing in Season 12? NASCAR is adding more horsepower to the next-gen car in 2026. How will it impact the racing at road courses and tracks under 1.5 miles? Hello to all of our viewers watching here in the United States and around the world. Welcome to Grid Tonight, your weekly motorsports news program. I'm Kobe Lamont. With me are Joshua Birch from JB Motorsports and Matt White from Grid Endurance Performance Index. We encourage everyone to interact with us in the chat, support us through Super Chat, and visit gridnetworktv.com for our latest content, and use the new QR code in the upper left-hand corner of your screen to visit our website that will be displaying during our Hots and Knots segment moving forward. And before we get started tonight, we have some exciting news to share. We want to welcome our newest Patreon supporter, Crystal, to investing in the Grid Network. We want to thank you, Crystal, for joining the Grid family. And if anyone else wants to invest in our media outlet through Patreon, click on the link in the video description below to keep us on the air in 2026 and beyond. We want to keep doing Grid Network for the foreseeable future. So, plus, this will also help send our members to the track more often than we got there in 2025. And with that said, here's Josh with our top story this evening.
Thank you, Kobe. Good evening to you. Good evening, Matt. Good evening, everybody, as well. And welcome, Crystal. Here we go then. So let's dive into the show with the big news of the week. With Porsche Motorsport doing a comprehensive realignment of its racing activities for the 2026 season, Porsche will drop its factory-backed Le Mans Hypercar class program next season in the FIA World Endurance Championship. However, the Porsche 963 will continue to see action in the hands of privateer teams, and the factory-backed GTP program in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship will return in the hands of the Porsche Penske Motorsport. Now, Porsche will also focus on its 99X electric car in the ABB FIA Formula E World Championship. Now, in a press release, Porsche highlighted the importance of staying in the North American market and how Gen 4 Formula E cars are set for launch in Season 13 will bring more of the development freedom, which will help the German manufacturer achieve an even steeper learning curve for all electric production vehicles. Now, with IMSA and Formula E programs confirmed, there's no word yet if a factory-backed Porsche entry or two will be made for a one-off return for next year's 24 Hours of Le Mans. The photo courtesy there of Porsche Motorsport. Of course, we need to see if that's going to be allowed in the new version of the regulations. It should be. But Kobe, starting with you on this one. How disappointing is it to see that Porsche Penske Motorsport exit the World Endurance Championship, WEC? And do you think that this may be just a temporary absence?
Oh, yeah, anytime you lose a manufacturer, Josh, is extremely disappointing. But given the rumblings that we've been hearing, for the last few weeks and months, I guess it can't come as a complete surprise that Porsche have done this. I know as time goes on, the market changes and your priorities shift. And obviously, Porsche felt like its World Endurance Championship program was something that they had to put on the back burner, hopefully for now, and maybe they'll be back in the future. And this team's been very competitive on both sides of the pond. We're certainly going to see one of the Porsches claim the championship in IMSA over the weekend at Motul Petit Le Mans Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. I was looking forward to the 10-hour endurance race there. And then World Endurance Championship, obviously more entries, more competition. I think Porsche's done a good job with that factory program, holding their own with their driver lineups. And it's just a real shame that they're going to bow out of the World Championship. And I know next year, we're more than likely going to see the Porsche still out there in the hypercar class, but it's going to be in the hands of like a privateer team. Proton Competition has one right now. I know they have a second chassis, so maybe we see a second Proton privateer Porsche run full time. So we'll still have two. And if you have, under the new set of regulations, in order to get to go to Le Mans, you have to have at least two full-time entries, per manufacturer in the hypercar class. So if you can get a second Proton out there, maybe you can see, Porsche Penske Motorsport doing one-off in the 24 Hours of Le Mans next year. I think it would be great, especially, with one of their cars is going to win the GTP championship this weekend at Road Atlanta. So they'll get that automatic bid to go to Le Mans. So I think we could potentially see them do the one-off, but Yeah, really disappointing that we're not going to see them full time anymore. So hopefully it's not, a goodbye for good. Maybe it's just a goodbye for now, because I feel like, we really need to have a Porsche factory team out there, competing for overall wins, not just here in IMSA, but also across the world in the World Endurance Championship. But I am really happy to hear that Porsche is committed to Formula E, need to keep the manufacturers there. And I'm also extremely happy that they're going to stay in IMSA as well, because looking at the World Endurance Championship Hypercar class and comparing it to IMSA's GTP class, you don't really see as much manufacturers over here in IMSA than you do over there. So I'm really happy that we're going to keep the Porsche factory team around in GTP.
Yeah, evening all. Yeah, great for Formula E. That's a good point, Kobe, that you brought up there. That is good, because obviously there's been a bit of a slide of the manufacturers over the last couple of years in the Formula E paddock, and it's nice to have Porsche confirmed for the immediate future anyway. This kind of sort of hails back to the DHL Spider Penske cars back in the noughties when they were taking the fight to Audi, doesn't it? Where Porsche have got this program, but it's kind of only in America. It's going to feel a little bit like that next year. Their WEC run, of course, they won the championship last year, the Drivers' Championship. This year it hasn't gone their way. I think they've been slighted somewhat by the BOP in the WEC, especially. Although their drivers have been getting some great results, and Lawrence Vanpool is still the EPI leader. More on that later from our side of things. But real shame for Porsche not to be, one of the biggest names in all of sports car racing across the world, and especially at Le Mans, for them not to be with the factory team in the top class at the 24 hours, and of course throughout the WEC Championship next year, fighting for wins, is a real shame. But as we've been talking about on this show pretty much all year, where every passing week we get a new manufacturer deciding it wants to come and play in WEC, with Genesis, with Ford, with McLaren, and others in the pipeline too. And some other people sort of floating around on the edges of things like Lamborghini and Aston Martin to some degree. It is a shame for someone to have to drop out, but kind of guess that someone had to go to incorporate all these new people in. I'm not saying that Porsche have been pushed by the ACO, absolutely not, but it is a real shame that we are going to lose them from the global championship outside of Le Mans. And as you said, over there, in line to win the championship Saturday night at Petit Le Mans in IMSA, so they will get an automatic entry that way. And I'm sure Proton will be, let's say, brought a suitcase full of money from Porsche if they need it to perhaps run a second car as a privateer entry or entries, as a factory supported team in the WEC next season. You might notice that there is glow on the side of my face because we have Bathurst practice on the second screen here. So I'll be giving you one of my favorite shows of the year, because we get to do Bathurst stuff while we're doing the show. Jake Westbury's just topped the Toyota Gazoo Racing Practice 1. It's very slippery and very wet at the mountain, so keep you updated on other things happening throughout the show, just to prove that we're live.
Yeah, it's one of my favourite times, so I'll be able to watch it. I was good to the commentary, but we decided to stay with IMSA this weekend, and I didn't fancy wearing myself out with my voice already going a little bit, so we're on IMSA. And the NASCAR Xfinity Series, and the NASCAR Trucks, and the NASCAR Cup Series. So this can come. Oh, do we have trucks this weekend?
No trucks.
No trucks.
No trucks, just Xfinity, yeah. But now, keeping back to the Porsche topic as well, with several Porsche Penske Motorsport drivers now out of a job in the World Endurance Championship, it could make the driver market go wild if some current Porsche factory drivers become available. That's, of course, being Julian Anlauer, Michael Christensen, Kevin Estre, Lawrence Van Hulst as well. They have 4 drivers from Porsche's factory WEC program who will be looking for new roles in 2026. Over in IMSA, they currently have Matt Campbell, Matthew Jamier, Philippe Nazar, alongside Nick Tandy as well, running full-time in IMSA's GTP class. Now, just a quick little side there. If you're watching the British Touring Car Championship this weekend in the Virtue Mini Challenge, you might have noticed Nick Tandy racing and doing very well in said class as well as a last-minute replacement. Yep, Nick came over and had a go. Now, according to Sportscar 365, several Porsche factory drivers could be on the move next season with the possibility of exiting their contracts. Now, in this article, they reported that Jamier could switch to Genesis, and Campbell is believed to have had talks with McLaren United AS, while Nasser might have been approached by Ford Racing as well. Now, the link to this article is in the video description below. Matt, starting with you on this one, because it is an interesting one, with both Porsche Penske Motorsport entries 1-2 in the IMSA GTP Championship entering this weekend's Moto Petit Le Mans. Do you anticipate any factory drivers from the soon-to-be absolute, WEC Hypercar program switching over to IMSA next season? And also, as a agenda for both of you, which driver can Porsche not afford to lose to a rival manufacturer?
Well, second part of that question is huge. First part, there is definitely some people from the WEC paddock that will want to come and play back or for the first time in IMSA again. Lawrence Vanford jumped straight out of that page. He's been very, very successful there down the years, especially in the GT running. Won the championship a couple of years ago in GTD Pro with the FAF team before they switched allegiances to McLaren via Lamborghini. So I think Vanford will certainly be jumping with both hands up in the air saying, pick me to come and play in IMSA. I don't think you're going to see, I don't know, you never know. I don't think Nick Tandy's going anywhere. He's won all of the big races now for Porsche, every single one of them pretty much. Jaminet going to Genesis, yeah, that's perhaps more likely. I think Porsche Motorsport Australia will do all they can to keep Matt Campbell in a Porsche outfit and bring him back to the 12-hour at Bathurst at the beginning of next season and have a good crack at that in the overall, probably with Lawrence, like they've done the last couple of years. So yeah, that's going to be really interesting to see who comes and who goes, because there's such a big pool. We talked about this a few years ago when Audi pulled the plug on pretty much everything to focus on their Formula One stuff with the GT stuff, and previous to that, the hypercar class, when they had Lotterer and Jarvis, and obviously the end of the road for Tom Christensen before he retired, and other people like that, Trelliway, and they all kind of found jobs elsewhere, and a bit like Peugeot did before they pulled out last time. Everyone they had on the books there, including people that were signed and hadn't actually raced the car. Hello, Dario Franchitti. A lot of really high-profile names that will be scrambling. I'm sure, those guys from the IMSA paddock will be trying to stop by and doorstep some other team owners, perhaps, throughout the weekend at Petit, down there at Road Atlanta. So, yeah, it's going to make it for a very interesting silly season in both WEC and IMSA paddocks, and that will then filter through all the other GT racing that we see, sort of GT World Challenge Europe and the Intercontinental GT Challenge and things like that.
Yeah, and looking at the driver lineups they have over at IMSA right now, given how well of a season they've had so far and how all four of their full-time drivers have driven throughout this season, I say why not just run it back, right? Because these driver lineups have been, incredible, and they've, both won races, and they've certainly been more consistent than a lot of the other GTP front runners throughout the season, although the Porsche performances have dropped off in the second half of the season, but we all know that's related to the balance of performance. And, since the Porsches were so strong, they wanted to peg them back a little bit, but they're still running consistent enough, whether or one of them are going to end up taking this year's GTP championship. But I think the IMSA lineup looks really good right now. I'm sure some of the World Endurance Championship Porsche factory drivers will probably get an endurance role again this year. Maybe one of the current guys, you just, as we mentioned, Jaminet been rumored to potentially go into Genesis, and then Campbell, maybe a McLaren's in his future, or Nasser going to Ford Racing. Who really knows? And answering that second question, I can't pick one single driver Porsche cannot afford to lose, because you can argue that all of them are very important to their hypercar / GTP program. So I think if you lose any one of them, it's going to be such a shame. As this silly season for prototypes is just going to ramp up in the next few weeks and months ahead as we come to the end of the season, because we're getting to that time of the year within the next couple of weeks. You need to know what you're doing next year. And I believe when Porsche have their end of the year celebration, like they always do, they're going to announce their driver lineups for next year. So I'm sure, although we're getting this announcement now, Porsche have already started, picking up the phones and trying to figure out a plan for next year where they're going to put all of their drivers, and not just talking about Porsche Penske Motorsport, the factory team. Maybe we could see some of these guys go over and compete for one of the privateer IMSA teams. Maybe we could see JDC Miller Motorsports get a Porsche factory driver and their Porsche as well. And I know AO Racing has been rumored to potentially, step up to the GTP class in IMSA in the future. PJ Hyatt wanted to do more than LMP2 and then GTD Pro with, Spike and Rexy there. So I'm sure that could open the door for some opportunities. And I believe Lauren Heinrich, who's been, a star in GTD Pro the last 2 years, I believe he's going to be participating in the end of season, rookie tests in Bahrain, where he's going to get behind the wheel of the hypercar there, see how he does in prototype racing. Yeah, and Porsche's ladder system they have right now, they have a lot of great drivers in, from the Porsche Super Cups, and then they get some of the GT4s, then the GT3s, and then they get some experience on a prototype, and all of a sudden, they're in hypercar on a Porsche 963. So even if Porsche lose drivers, there won't be a shortage of talent because they basically have the next man up mentality with all of these incredible talented drivers that they have throughout sports car racing. It's really interesting to look, at all the different manufacturers across motorsports and see what their drivers ladder system looks like. I think Porsche has it figured out really well with the single mix series. Then you can go to so many different GT4 championships and GT3, and and then ultimately reaching hypercar, whether you're in a factory entry or a privateer.
Yeah, I think as well that coming into it, we're going to be seeing a lot more Porsche around motorsport outside of World Endurance Championship. I've got a feeling that they're looking at a certain entry into another class of racing series, beginning with F. Now, Adam says as well, sad to see that Porsche leaving the WEC, so much history in that series. Well, come on, Audi are going in. Are you really thinking that Formula One won't have Porsche name in it as a secondary team?
It was good back in the WEC days when it was Porsche versus Audi not so long ago, before all the Audi stuff went south. That was peak WEC for me. So that would be cool. Talking of Porsches, before Porsche Peter Dixon Carrera Cup practice starts at the mountain, and so Adam will be very excited about Bathurst this weekend. Breaking news from Bathurst: they've just installed a beach. It's on the run between the dipper and the elbow, to clean up the mess that was left by the Toyota GR Cup practice. There is an absolute sandpit down there as they clean up all the oil. Breaking news: new beach at Bathurst.
Reminds me of Alton Park over the British Superbike weekend.
On the weekend, yes.
6 hours to complete a schedule, 2-hour visit delayed for bikes. That's pretty much how it is with oil circuit. Okay, so getting on with it with our second story as well. Jaguar TCS Racing has signed Antonio Felix da Costa for season 12 of the ABB FIA Formula E World Championship. Da Costa has signed a multi-year deal with Jaguar as the season 6 Formula E World Champion will replace Nick Cassidy in the driver lineup alongside Mitch Evans. Now, when you combine stats from both drivers, Da Costa and Evans have a total of 270 career starts, 26 wins, 60 podiums, and 18 poles. The 34-year-old Portuguese driver comes to Jaguar during a time of change as Cassidy has moved on to the Citroën team, and Ian James comes over from McLaren to serve as Jaguar's new team principal, with James Barkley moving to McLaren United AS for the Hypercar program. Now, Ian James said as we enter the final season of the Gen 3 Formula E car, he's confident that we'll see great results from Da Costa and Evans, who he considers the most competitive and driver appearing on the grid entering season 12. The photo courtesy there of Jaguar TCS Racing. Seems weird that we're already into the last season of Gen 3. Seems like it's only just started when we started season 9. But Kobe, starting with you, do you anticipate Da Costa returning to the same form of his championship-winning season? And will his Jaguar tenure be more successful than, arguably, he's won at Porsches, just to swap back over again?
Yeah, I guess when you look at how Jaguar ended last season, Nick Cassidy, he was completely on fire towards the end of last year. And if they can keep that car, in the same ballpark that it was in season 11, I believe that Antonio Felix da Costa and Mitch Evans, could potentially be the favorites for this year's championship. Obviously, it's still very early, before we can actually know that, because, cars haven't even hit the track yet for preseason testing. We'll know a lot more then. And then obviously when we kick off the season, in a couple of months' time, I believe in early December in Sao Paulo, if I remember correctly. Yeah, got that right. But Yeah, Da Costa. It's certainly been an interesting journey for him in Formula E since he won his championship several years ago. And when he came to Porsche, a lot from DS Techeetah, a lot of us thought we would see a lot more for Antonio Felix da Costa, and it seemed like from the time he got there, he was already out the door because it was just a real crazy situation with Antonio because we expected to see him fighting towards the front more often, but he didn't perform, I guess, up to standards of what people really expected from him. And the season before last, he performed a lot better, and I guess that spared him another season with Porsche. And then it's been rumored for the longest time that he was going to be out, and then he was finally out. Then we got Nick Cassidy went to a Citroen team, as Josh mentioned, and after that happened, there were rumors that Da Costa would be signing with Jaguar, and here we are now. So if this Jaguar team can continue to perform as well as they did at the end of last season, I certainly think Antonio Felix da Costa can get close to his championship winning form again, and maybe his Jaguar tenure will definitely be more successful than his Porsche. Although it's really soon to tell. If I'm Antonio Felix da Costa, I would be really happy about the situation that I'm walking into right now. One of the big questions, going to be, the change from James Barkley to Ian James, wondering how he's going to handle the team compared to how Barkley did before his tenure ended. And it's really interesting, doing the swap here. James from McLaren to Jaguar, and then Barkley from Jaguar to McLaren, but a different type of racing.
Yeah, the Formula E opener is in Sao Paulo, Brazil, first weekend of December. The Formula E higher-ups very hopeful, I'm sure, that the Formula One World Championship is all wrapped up before Abu Dhabi, because that's a clash weekend, and if the title's still on the line, no one will be watching Formula E. But this is big for Da Costa to keep him in the championship. He's been in it since the very beginning. I think he won a race in season one, off the top of my head, for Andretti Amlin or whatever that team was called back in the very beginning. In I think it was Argentina. So he's been in it a very, very long time. Former champion, plenty of race wins. That is a huge number of sort of starts, wins, and whatever between the two of them now, Da Costa and Evans. I think there's going to be a real battle between those two throughout the season. But as you say, Kobe, they were really good at the end of the season with Cassidy, and of course, the last couple of years before that, Jaguar have been one of, if not the form team. It just didn't start very well for them last year. Okay, Evans won the first race of the season, but after that, it kind of disappeared into the mid pack until that little fight back at the end with Cassidy. Before, obviously, as you mentioned, he's now, as Josh mentioned, he's now left to go to Peugeot/Citroen. So yeah, big to keep Da Costa in. He's one of the fan favourites in the paddock, so that is good. And they needed I think to replace Cassidy, they needed someone of a similar stature and speed, and they've got that with Da Costa coming in. But I think all those other changes you mentioned, sort of behind the scenes, is going to be key as well. It's only Mitch Evans that survived from that sort of top tier of people at TCS there. So going to be interesting once Formula E gets itself back underway just before Christmas.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one as well, because the commentary lineup is going to be quite an interesting one as well for that weekend, with everyone being here, there, and everywhere. With it being the last racing weekend of the season, so we end Formula One and we start Formula E. Pretty similar to how we did it this year, actually, as well, over in Sao Paulo. Or should I say last year? See, it's already getting confusing with the seasons. Just start it in January if you want to be so much. So, earlier this afternoon, it was announced as well that Harrison Burton would not return to AM Racing for the 2026 NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series season. Now, this came as a somewhat of a surprise, because Burton has given the number 25 Ford its best season yet, with 2 top 5s, 10 top 10s, and they've made the playoffs on points. Now, despite exceeding expectations for the organisation, aligned with the Haas factory team, which is switching to Chevrolet next year, Burton will have a new home. Now, in the graphic courtesy of AM Racing on the left side of the screen, the team thanked the Burton family for their contributions and professionalism this year, wishing them the best of luck in future endeavours. AM Racing will provide updates on its plans for the 2026 season at a later date. But Harrison Burton put out a statement saying, "I want to thank AM Racing, to himself, and Wayne Moore for the opportunity and trust at a pivotal moment in my career after I lost my cup seat entering 2025. From day one, the group's commitment and preparation helped us deliver tangible progress. So far, we have team record top 5 and top 10 results and the organisation's first trip to the Xfinity Series playoffs. I'm proud of how we showed up each week and how we compete at the highest level and finish strong. I'm also grateful for the people who made this possible, our crew members, engineers, office staff, partners, and the fans who have our backs everywhere we race. This season reminded me why I love competing, the teamwork, the focus, and the fight. I'm super excited about the next chapter. I will announce my plans at a future date. Well, Matt, as we see, has Harrison Burton proved that he's deserving of a top ride in the O'Reilly or Truck Series season next year? Or is he ready for his second stint in the Cup Series after his disappointing first stint with the Wood Brothers Racing?
Well, I think we talked about silly season before with the Porsche stuff. I think there's going to be a little bit of silly season action going on in NASCAR. Obviously, of course, we get it every year. Not so much in the Cup Series, but I feel like in the Grand National Series and in the trucks. I'm not going to call it the other name. It's the Grand National Series, and that's what it will be remaining in my eyes because that other name is just too long and silly. But there's going to be some moving and shaking going around. And as you documented, Josh, Burton has sort of brought that team forward. They have been, pretty much middle to back order team for the last few years. So Hayley Deegan running for them for the majority of her Xfinity Series stint over the last couple of years before they parted ways midway through last season, and they had some fill-in drivers towards the end. But Burton's, he's got them in the playoffs, a couple of top fives, as you mentioned. He was never a tugger, let's say, in the Cup Series. He was in the middle of the field a lot of the time with the Wood Brothers and a decent team and decent equipment. Got that win, of course, famously at Daytona last summer. Now he's found himself in the playoffs here in Xfinity. He's a good steerer. He'd be another guy that would go well to get himself in, at Gibbs or at Junior Motorsport or someone like that in the Grand National Series and make a career out of it, just like kind of Justin Allgaier has done, or Elliott Sadler did towards the end of his career after he lost his Cup ride. Just concentrate on that and make a career out of being in the sort of middle championship, or let's say Matt Crafton's done in trucks for all these years. And of course, he's leaving the series in a couple of weeks' time. So openings everywhere for Harrison. He's obviously got a plan because I don't think they'd step out of this ride otherwise. So that's obviously going to come out in the wash over the next couple of weeks or so, I would imagine. So yeah, he's definitely someone that should be deserving of a decent ride, and then they can make a bit more of a career out of being a Xfinity Series regular.
Now, staying with NASCAR and moving over, because a few hours before tonight's show, NASCAR announced plans to increase the amount of horsepower in the next-gen cars for the 2026 Cup Series season. And NASCAR President Steve O'Donnell went on the Dale Jr. download to break the news after many teams, drivers and fans have been asking for more horsepower on Sundays. Now, the horsepower will increase from the current baseline of 670 horsepower to 750 horsepower for all road courses and ovals under 1.5 miles. That means COTA, Watkins Glen, San Diego, Sonoma, Charlotte Roval, Bowman Gray, Phoenix, Darlington, Martinsville, Bristol, Dover, Nashville, North Wilkesboro, Iowa, Richmond, New Hampshire, and Gateway will have the higher horsepower package. Now, John Prosbert, as well, NASCAR's Executive Vice President and Chief Racing Development Officer, said that if the higher horsepower package looks good early in 2026, they would consider adding more horsepower to the tracks over 1.5 miles in the future. Photo taken by Jared C. Tilton from Getty Images. Oh, breathe. That was a long list of names to get through with tracks. Matt, with Goodyear starting to develop tyres with way more fall-off in recent memory and extra horsepower, is NASCAR treading in the right direction to improve the on-track product in the Cup Series?
The ongoing cycle of what the NASCAR fan wants. They wanted loads more road courses. We got them. They wanted loads more short tracks. Didn't quite get them. Now they've wanted some tyres that work properly. We've got them. We've had some great races over the last few weeks. Now we're getting some horsepower, which everyone's been screaming for the last however long. The only thing about this I don't like is we're going to be talking about packages again. And we did all of that pre-COVID when we had the 750 package and the 500 package at different racetracks. and it'll be the racetracks that don't have this package, as you meant, the ones that you didn't mention, Josh, in your list there. It'll be people will be on the social media going, "God, I wish we had the higher horsepower package here." I feel like it's been good the last couple of years in this technical sort of realm where we haven't had to talk about this, that, or the other, and it's just been a flat. This is what we've got. We have to work with it. But we'll see. It's NASCAR. Maybe NASCAR are kind of sort of turning the corner a little bit on these kind of things. Time will tell. The racing on the 1.5, so the last year and a half have been exceptional, and of course a lot of people were screaming for the Roval to be gone at the weekend and then get back on the oval track at Charlotte. We're going to see a 1.5 this weekend, Sunday night at Las Vegas, which is going to be, it should be very exciting and a crucial race in the championship, if you ask me. So trending NASCAR, beginning to trend upwards and listening to people. If only they could sort their way they crown a champion, just get it nailed down. We're not going to hear anything until after Christmas, frankly. Yeah. But let's just have it nailed down so people will stop talking about it. That's not fair.
Yeah, because then they can get used to it. But then again, are we still? Yeah, I want the playoffs to stay actually, because the ratings have boomed in the playoffs. So, as if SVG needs more horsepower for road courses, or SVG will be winning by 1+ lap on the Cup field on road courses next year. SVG saying thank you, NASCAR. I did actually find it nice to what we saw on Denny Hamlin's podcast saying about how, you know, he's the best road course driver of all time. He's only been doing it a year and a half. That surprised me a little bit. Crystal, hello, Crystal. Welcome to the channel. Said, agreed. I can't imagine giving more horsepower on road courses benefits anyone more than SVG. Let's keep SVG down at the 650 mark and see what happens. And give everybody else the horsepower boost.
Well,
if he still wins, then...
You saw on Sunday, everyone had to try and go one more pit stop more and put some more tyres on to have a hope in that final stage. And he still beat them by, because he didn't stop again. He beat them by a long way. He was creating non-tyre wear on his car when everyone else is struggling. You give them more horsepower, they're going to burn their tyres off quicker. So we're going to have the same complaint. The people that don't like Shane Van Gisbergen winning by a clear lap, and it was a clear lap before all the drama happened behind him on Sunday. It's not going to be fun for you people, I'm afraid. Sorry about that.
Okay, let's get into this as well, because I'm about to sneeze. So this will be great television. Another thing O'Donnell talked about on the Dale Jr. download is the future of NASCAR's playoff format, as we've just been discussing. Now, while we don't know what it will look like for the 2026 season at the moment, the one thing that will likely change is one race deciding a championship, as rumours swirl about a championship round of races instead of a championship race. Now, Jeff Gluck from The Athletic kindly put together in the main points to take away from O'Donnell's comments. He puts, nothing will be announced before the end of the season. Thinks the current playoffs potentially hurt star power. Doesn't like that people talk about the playoffs when someone wins the Daytona 500. NASCAR needs the drivers to buy into whatever the format is. Says NASCAR can't have a format in place to bring in new fans at the expense of the existing fans. NASCAR fans are not like football fans. Really? Really? I mean, I've seen fans stay by their driver, case in point, throughout eternity. With your, there you are. So, Matt, I know you've been more in favour of the NASCAR playoffs compared to the rest of our team as well. Do you agree that the format needs an overhaul, or would you be okay with the return of full season points format, or is the current system perfectly fine the way it is?
You can do your Neil Hodgson sneeze now, from anyone that was watching TNT at Motegi last couple of weeks ago. They're not going to go back to full season points. You don't go backwards. It just doesn't happen unless you're the FIA World Rallycross Championship. Maybe more on that on another show. Ben's joined at exactly the perfect time. The yin to my playoff yang. He's right about the star power thing. Absolutely. And Joey Logano, again, we come back to this point, Joey Logano winning the championship last year after having a very down year and being out at the Roval until Alex Bowman got disqualified and coming back to win the championship rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. and they need to. There's plenty of guys in that Cup Series field that are stars and need the platform. And the problem is, the TV is the platform problem, because again, we were starting at 3:00 Eastern time on Sunday, which is what they call the witching hour in NFL, where the early kickoffs are coming to an end and the late kickoffs begin right in the beginning of when the NASCAR race starts. No one's going to be tuning away from a NFL game that you've spent the last 2.5 hours watching, to, unless your team's being beaten. Mine was on Sunday, to go and watch the Cup race. So I just feel like there needs to be a weekendy schedule change for NASCAR for the Cup Series. It would affect obviously Trucks and Xfinity as well. We've seen what IndyCar have done with them going to Fox. That has improved their ratings dramatically. Okay, you can talk other things about IndyCar, and we have on this show all season about the IndyCar series, but the ratings have gone up. I think NASCAR does need to do something in that realm. I don't think we are going. It doesn't sound like, from what I've heard, that we are going to have a one race showdown for the championship anymore after this season. So it is going to be different next year in whatever form they come up with it. I would be in favor of 3 or 4 races in a box to combine the champion. The point about the Daytona 500 winner being instantly talked about as a playoff entry, well, that's the problem with that's the problem with winning you're in, isn't it? Because you've won the first race of the season. Your first race of the season just happens to be your crown jewel of the whole year. So that's a problem that you've kind of created for yourself in that realm. And everyone is going to be talking about that, especially if it's idiot. And of course, at Daytona, we've seen Ricky Stenhouse come through and win the 500 most recently, the kind of a bit more of an outsider guy. Harrison Burton, we mentioned earlier on, of course, won that summer race last year from way outside a position of championship importance, really, to get himself into the playoffs. There's lots of tweaking that needs to happen. We just have to wait and see what it is. But you're right about Jeff Gluck and Steve O'Donnell are right about the drivers need to get behind that second from bottom line. The drivers need to buy into the format. Absolutely. Because we've heard from the likes of Chase Elliott this year. I think Christopher Bell's made some comments about the point standings and stuff. And of course, he would have been the champion last year if we'd run to a full season points system throughout the season. They need to get behind. Don't talk down your product, because you are part of the product. So that definitely needs to be addressed. And I think the star power thing kind of all dovetails together, and they need to get more eyes on the sport. And having it on USA over these last few weeks, when it's crunch playoff time on a non-sports channel, just isn't a good look. But that's the deal that NASCAR have signed with NBC. It's not the deal that NBC have signed with NASCAR. It's the deal with NASCAR have signed with their TV partner. You can't blame NBC for this. This is a NASCAR signing problem.
Personally, keep it up, because 40,000 viewers makes it very easy. Oh, I'm so sorry. I've got a lump in my throat. Ben says, I agree that we will probably get something in between the two. I will never stop fighting for a return to the full 36, but realistically I expect some sort of hybrid multi-race final round as well. But if they do somehow go back to full 36, stages have to go too. They've killed strategy, and the race should always be taking home the most points. I get that.
Yeah, I get it. Especially obviously there was the road course stages chat a couple of years ago. They went away, and then they realised that wasn't maybe so good, and they brought them back. Denver says NASCAR should have a road course and intermediate short oval to prove who's the best on all forms of racing in the championship. Well, it sounds like it's probably going to be in some whatever order. We know the final races at Homestead, so that's locked in, and obviously Phoenix, Martinsville, and the Roval and Talladega, kind of in that last sort of spear of the calendar next year. Of course, we could see the Roval, even though it's on the calendar, get changed out for the Oval at Charlotte next October, perhaps. But I agree, we should have if we're going to have multiple races, they definitely need to be not all on the same track. Over that final flourish of the season.
As I said many a time, get rid of the you're in it and you win it. Get rid of that. Just make it, you go to the end of the regular season with how many, top 16 in the points, bang, there you go.
And then you
Then
get the
start
bonus
playoffs.
points for the win to add on once the playoffs
Yeah.
begin.
Yeah, and then that gives you the playoff order.
Yeah.
Because then it just makes more sense, because then we've got a regular season and you get your playoffs. The whole inning you win it.
Yeah, there needs to be a regular season cut line, doesn't there, that you can't bypass by just winning a race. A fuel strategy race, or being in the lead when the rain comes up somewhere like Pocono and you end up winning just because you stayed out and caught the weather or something like that.
Yeah, and I think that needs to be changed ASAP. And I hope we get to see some sensible shoes we get put on as well coming into it. Right, I need to go do Neil Hodgson as well, because my nose will not stop running. So, Matt, here's the latest with our grid EPI update.
25 minutes to go in Porsche Practice 1 at Bathurst. Dale Wood is currently fastest, although he has just had a trip across the road at the Chase. Grid Endurance Performance Index update for the week then, and it is a week of champions being crowned. It's that time of the season, of course. We start at Hockenheim, where there was some tremendous racing at the weekend. ADAC GT Masters wrapped up its season with Denis Bulatov and Nico Hanke winning on Saturday afternoon in their Audi. But the winners of Sunday's race, Finn Wiebelhaus and Salman Vega for Haupt Racing Team with their Mustang, clinched the championship during the race on Saturday and then went on to top it off with the win on Sunday. So congratulations to everyone at HRT and to Finn and Salman on winning the championship at Hockenheim. They were, of course, supporting the big show, which was the DTM, which had a chance of 5 people going into the weekend with a chance of the championship. Thomas Preining won on Saturday aboard his Grello-coloured Porsche in misty conditions. And then we still had 5 people available to win the race on Sunday. And the 5th person that was available won the race and won the championship. Arçelik Guven, the first Turk to be a DTM champion. Insane battle with Marco Wittmann. Wittmann passed him going into the stadium on the last lap. Guven needed to win the race, otherwise Lucas Hauer was going to be champion. And he stormed up the inside, half on the grass, into the left-hander in the middle of the stadium section to take the lead back on the final lap with 2 corners to go, and ended up winning the race and taking the championship. I've burnt to hot from Hots and Knots already, but if you haven't seen it, do search it out. It was a tremendous finish to the championship and to the race. And congratulations to Guven on winning his title. Another title was crowned at Donington at the weekend. Sandy Mitchell and Alex Martin won the British GT finale aboard their Barwell Motorsport Lamborghini, but the championship went to 2 C's Motorsport, Charles Dawson and Cian Jewis, who put one hand on the trophy at Brands Hatch a couple of weeks ago. They came home to claim the championship at the weekend at Donington Park with their Mercedes. Let's have a look at how there is the 42 Mercedes winning the championship this weekend at Donington. Let's have a look at how that has affected the points. Well, it hasn't really. The grid EPI is top 10 for week 28 is exactly how it was for last week, with Lawrence Van Voort continuing his second spell at the top of the leaderboard. Lots of mentions of Lawrence Van Voort on the show tonight. He's still top, and the WEC race, of course, coming up at the end of the season at Bahrain will be important for him, as will this weekend's race at Petit Le Mans for IMSA, which is the standout race for the weekend for the grid EPI. It's not the only endurance race of the weekend, as we've been talking about with the Bathurst 1000 at the mountain. Not an EPI scoring race, though. Let's have a look at the top 50 before we get out of here and hand over to Kobe with the news. There it is. Again, not so many changes amongst that top 50 from the weekend. Arçelik Guven actually came in 51st in the standings, so the DTM champion just doesn't make it into our top 50 board. For week 28, we are winding down towards the end of the year in motorsport and the Grid Endurance Performance Index for 2025. An update on that Petit Le Mans race, how it's affected the scores on the show next week. 45 minutes on the clock. Let's hand over to Kobe. He has got the rest of the week's headlines.
Thanks, Matt. We've been doing really good with time these last few shows, so we'll keep it up tonight. Time for some more motorsports news from around the world. McLaren has dropped Formula 2 driver Alex Dunn from his Formula 1 driver development program, effective immediately. Dunn currently drives for Roden Motorsport and is fifth in the F2 standings, taking 2 feature race wins at Bahrain and Imola. And during his time at McLaren, he got to participate in a couple of FP1 sessions at Austria and Monza. While Dunn's future is uncertain at the moment, some rumors suggest that he could be on his way to the Red Bull family in 2026. And in a statement posted on Instagram, Dunn said it was a mutual agreement to part ways and thanked everyone at McLaren for helping him develop and improve as a driver. And I guess Alex Dunn figured it was best to move on from the situation, especially with Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris not going anywhere anytime soon, seemingly. And photo courtesy of Formula 2. The 2026 ARCA Menard Series schedule was released before last Saturday's season finale at Toledo Speedway. The 2026 ARCA season gets underway on Saturday, February 14th, a lovely Valentine's Day at Daytona International Speedway for the 63rd consecutive year, which will be broadcast on Big Fox. Again, as ARCA will be a part of a Saturday doubleheader with the NASCAR Raleigh Auto Parts Series. Toledo won't host the season finale this year as the race moves to Saturday, May 16th, and missing from the month of May is Charlotte Motor Speedway, which falls off the ARCA schedule entirely. However, on Friday, June 12th, ARCA returns to Pocono Raceway for the first time since 2023. Then on Friday, July 3rd, Chicagoland Speedway is back on the ARCA schedule for the first time since 2019. And after that, pretty much everything is the same as this year until you get to Kansas Speedway hosting the 2026 season finale on Friday, September 25th. Kansas will be the only track with 2 dates in the 20-race schedule, consisting of 19 different tracks. And besides the Daytona season opener broadcast on Big Fox, 13 races will air on FS1, and the other 6 races will air on FS2, graphic courtesy of ARCA. And after getting injured on the opening lap of the Indonesian Grand Prix, newly crowned 2025 MotoGP World Champion Marc Marquez will set out for at least the next 2 race weekends. Marco Bezzecchi made contact with Marquez's bike as both went flying off into the gravel trap, and after returning home to Spain from Indonesia, Marquez was diagnosed with a fracture at the base of the coracoid process and a ligament injury to his right shoulder. Test results have ruled out any connection with previous injuries and confirm the absence of significant bone displacement, which is extremely good news for Marc Marquez, considering how long it took for him to get back to his championship winning form this year. So the connection with previous injuries that been ruled out is really good for him and his recovery. And as a result, Marquez's medical team has opted against surgery, and instead they'll have Marc do a conservative treatment plan. This plan will involve rest and immobilization of the affected shoulder until the fracture heals. Marquez will have weekly checkups to monitor his progress to determine his final recovery timeline and return to the bike. He won't participate in the upcoming Australian Grand Prix at Phillip Island or the Malaysian Grand Prix at Sepang. The earliest we could see Marquez return to MotoGP competition is November 9th for the Portuguese Grand Prix. Marquez said it's fortunate that the injury isn't serious and has a goal of returning to finish out the 2025 season. Photo courtesy of MotoGP. And since we're talking about Bathurst tonight, let's talk about a surprising announcement. Days before the Great Race of Australia, Nick Percat revealed that he's retiring as a full-time Repco Supercars Championship driver at the end of the 2025 season. According to Supercars.com, Percat's contract with Matt Stone Racing plan to expire at the end of the 2027 season. So Percat's calling it quits on a full-time career earlier than his contract length. And in 366 career starts, Percat has 6 wins and 19 podiums. And with this chapter of his life closing, Percat plans to work closely with the J&D kart team and help develop the next generation of race car drivers while searching for a co-drive for the supercars endurance races. Percat said that after watching the kids go around the karting track, it made him realize that life after being a full-time supercars driver is still pretty cool. Photo courtesy of Supercars. Lockie Hughes will return to Indy next in 2026. Hughes will be back in the number 26 Dallara for Andretti Global and also become the reserve driver for Andretti's NTT IndyCar Series program. And in his rookie season in Indy next, he won 2 races at the Amex Road Course and Gateway, including 8 podiums, 2 poles, 54 laps led, and 12 top 10s in 14 races. The 23-year-old Australian driver said he's excited to be returning to Indy next with the same team and testing an IndyCar for the first time next Monday at the IMS Road Course. His fellow countryman Will Power, who is new to Andretti Global for 2026, said he wants to see another Australian get a good IndyCar seat and succeed in America. Graphic courtesy of Andretti Global. And with that said, gonna turn to Matt for everyone's favorite game, pick a winner.
Pick a winner indeed. Hashtag pick a winner indeed for this weekend. Another chance to get yourself on our ever-growing list in leaderboard, although there is less chance for you to win because we're ticking off points. I picked up 3 myself this weekend. I was very happy with my haul. It's kept me in touch with the 2 guys at the front. I'm only 4 points behind Kobe now in our sort of mini fight for second behind Matt B at the top. He has a 4-point lead. Kiska, our Grid Network dog, now cannot win the championship, especially because Mark Marquez is going to miss at least 4 points worth of MotoGP pick-a-winner points for not being at Phillip Island or Sepang. So we were down to 7 people that can still pick a winner for this weekend. Joe has now also been knocked out after the weekend. So Adam is the bottom of the 7 people that can still win, but you can still get your name well up on the leaderboard by picking some correct guesses for the races this weekend. We have got 2 to pick from tonight. We've been talking about Bathurst. We'll come to that in a minute, because first we're going to pick the other long endurance race of the weekend, and that is the Motor Petit Le Mans, the final race of the IMSA Championship at Road Atlanta, which is on Saturday. Josh has already mentioned him and the team will be on the call on JB Motorsports here on YouTube for that race. I always got the first pick. I am going to go with a bit of a curveball, and I'm going to pick the number 10 Wayne Taylor car to win on Saturday, just as a bit of a different pick. Kobe, who are you going with?
I'm sure Wayne Taylor Racing hopes you're right about that, Matt, because it's been a rough year for that team. But trying to run these 2 Cadillacs this year just hasn't gone right. It's been even worse for the number 40 Cadillac of Jordan Taylor and Louis Delatraz. But yeah, we've seen some more potential from the number 10, so I would not be surprised if they ended up taking the top step of the podium. But I'm going to go with one of the favorites. Going to go with one of the Porsches, but not the one currently leading the championship. I'm going with the number 7 Porsche, which is Felipe Nasr, Nick Tandy, and our Grid Endurance Performance Index points leader, Lawrence Vanthor. I think they'll get the job done and potentially overtake the number 6 Porsche for the championship in GTP as well. Yeah, so a lot could happen this weekend at Road Atlanta. Who you got, Josh?
I'm not copying, but I'm staying with my guns, so that I've been with all season. I'm staying with the number 7 Porsche. I think they've got a good chance as well. It's a long race, 10 hours, a difficult circuit. A lot can happen, and Porsche are battling at the front. And yeah, we haven't been on the call since the season opener, but we're doing the end of the season because it is an important race. And no, it's been a lot of fun. So I think looking at it, it's a split call. I'm on the first 2 hours, and then I'm on hours 8 to the end. So the first 2 and the last 3. With the middle bit taken with Xfinity and the NASCAR Cup. So we'll be around, and we've got members of the team on ready to go. It's going to be a lot of fun.
You can get that pick of your own in by using hashtag pick a winner on all of the Grid Network TV social medias. The second one to do tonight, as we've been mentioning, I've got it on the TV here. Practice underway at the Mount Panorama Bathurst for the Repco Supercars Bathurst 1000. And they've won the last 2 endurance races. This race last year and the 500 at the Bend. Brody Kostecki and Todd Hazelwood continue to run. They are my pick for Sunday. Kobe?
Yeah, I think that's a really good pick. Whatever Brody and Todd have been drinking and eating these last couple of years, keep doing it, guys, because you guys are just incredible right now. And I'm going to make a preliminary pick. I may change it after seeing how things go in qualifying, but I'm going to go with the other favorites with the other manufacturer, one of the Red Bull and Pole racing cars. I'm still gonna keep riding with the number 88 Brock Feeney and Jamie Whincup to win the great race this year. Who you got, Josh?
Yeah, I was going to agree with you actually, and go with Brock Feeney to come into it because you guys have been telling me how good he's been doing this year. So I'll stay with my gun there and go with your pick and trust you, and hopefully send it back to you quick before I start sneezing my head off.
Mute yourself quickly, and I can tell you that you also, if you're getting your picks in, have got up until the green flag of both of those races to get picks in for them over the weekend. Adam is going with the number 7 Porsche for Road Atlanta. Also, there's of course the Cup race at Las Vegas, which is pick a winner worthy as well, and he's also going with Feeney and Whincup in the 88. He's got to win another one at some point, Whincup, hasn't he? It's been too long. Crystal, hello to you, says glad to see Arca going back to Pocono. It's nice to see them hit another of the longer tracks. Yeah, generally they're on the short stuff in ARCA. It's nice to see them go a little bit further afield and check out some of the longer circuits. And as I've been saying, you can get your picks in for IMSA, NASCAR, and Supercars with your hashtag Pick a Winner and the Grid Network TV social medias across all of them: Facebook, Instagram, X, Blue Sky, TikTok, wherever else. For the weekend's action, Denver says he's going with Bell for Las Vegas, Brown and Pye, the other Red Bull car, for Bathurst, and he is going with a number 7 Porsche for IMSA. Lawrence Van Voort could have a hand on the EPI trophy with a win in that race at Road Atlanta on Saturday night. Right, time to wrap up the show with, as there's been plenty of spins out of my right eye in this Porsche practice at Bathurst, which is just greasy and very, very slimy. And in fact, Harry Jones has just found the gravel at the final corner. So hots and knots then from a very busy weekend. Where do we want to start with this? Because there was so much happening over the weekend.
So much happened. Let's start with Formula One. I think that's the biggest one, isn't it?
Yeah, Singapore Grand Prix.
Oh, FOM. I must admit, FOM. If you had, they could miss everything, couldn't they? They really could. They missed everything. We had 5 minutes worth of overtaking happening in that Grand Prix. They missed all of it because they were looking at the drivers' girlfriends and families. This is not Famous One. This is Formula One. We tune in to talk about racing cars, not who's dating who and who's, with who. I wish we could swear, but it is really bad now. I must admit, it's Formula One is pay-per-view, but we're not paying for that. If you get my drift, we're paying for the cars, the actual stuff that we want to see. And yeah, it's getting a bit ridiculous to me. Did not like it. I didn't
watch it till Monday, and I had a busy day, and I was drifting. The end of that race, I was drifting. There wasn't a lot going on, and we didn't see any of the Lewis Hamilton stuff until after the race had finished at the end with his brake failure.
We knew about it, but we didn't hear it. We didn't see it. Me and Megan were keeping an eye on it on our monitors.
And because I didn't watch the race on as bad as FS1 trucks put in the dance, indeed, perhaps
worse.
And there was some of it that happening in MotoGP as well at the weekend. Get to that in a second. I saw all the McLaren hubbub on social media on Sunday afternoon. So, something's happened, but I haven't seen it. Can't wait to watch it. Oh, was that it?
Yeah.
The smallest of touches.
Hear me, Mom, hear me. Get over it.
Playground Piastri has made his appearance at the weekend.
Hated it. Did not like it. I didn't like Oscar whining on the radio. I didn't like Lando again being given control of the strategy. And I don't like how McLaren are clearly with Norris and against Piastri. I don't get it. I do not get it. It winds me up completely. I want Oscar to win the title now just so he can stick a middle finger up to Zach Brown. Yeah,
I mean, you say that, but then something will happen at COTA, isn't it, next? Something will happen at COTA where Piastri will benefit somehow, and then everybody will go, well, they're clear with Oscar, and it's, they're clear. It's just every week it swings the other way.
It's getting worse. Do you know what this is? This is not the Prost v Senna. This is not the Hamilton and Alonso. This is not the Hamilton and Hamilton Rosberg or Hamilton and Verstappen. This is basically crash. It's kindergarten crash. We've got two crybabies at the front of the field, just running to teach you if someone even bears go like that. It's like that. They're fighting like that. They're not fighting like that. They're fighting like that. Get off with it. Give us a wheel to wheel. And I've been saying with this as well a lot over the past couple of weeks, and it looks likely Max Verstappen is going to be the champion this year. This is going to happen. I really do. He's been so consistent. Singapore's always been his bogey track, but look, he still managed to do a good result with, what was it, second in the end? Yeah. So, and now we're going to COTA, a sprint weekend, where he is good at. We're going to tracks he likes now. I can see Max winning. How many races we got left? 5?
5 and 2 sprints.
3 sprints, 5 and 3. Yeah, 5 and 3. Something like that.
Yeah, right, yeah.
And I can see Max winning all of them. I can't see McLaren winning.
Yeah, I can see it happening. There's going to be another clash that's going to be a bigger one with maybe both of them in the gravel or in the wall or somewhere between the two McLarens, you feel like. And if that does happen, then and Max wins, that, you know, it puts him right back in the mix. And as you say, Coterie goes well at Brazil. Last couple of years, he's been, you know, imperious at Qatar as well. Although
Qatar's an interesting one because that's McLaren and that's a split.
McLaren won the sprint, didn't they, last year with the old switcheroo, as Crofty would say at the line. So yeah, interesting times in F1. Good, well done to George though. Hot 5-time Cup Series winner SVG as a rookie, says Joe. Will that record be broken anytime soon? 5 in a year? It's unlikely, to say.
Probably could do it.
Connor, that's the. I mean, he's the only person, or maybe Corey Haim in a couple of years' time, that could get up there and do it. I mentioned MotoGP. Let's go MotoGP. For me now, De Gea, first-time winner, brilliant, fantastic. He took advantage of the situation, granted, and he took advantage of his good friend Pedro Acosta holding up the rest of the field. It was second to the last in the battle for second, and it was brilliant. Until
could have been a double. Could have done the double. Yeah. Sprint and Grand Prix.
Yeah. And got beaten by Bezzecchi at the end in the sprint.
Did you get the feeling as well that how good a race it was when the Ducatis went there? It was fantastic.
Much better, isn't it?
Much better. Yeah. So what happened to Bagnaia?
Well, indeed, I take back my Pecco Bagnaia's back statement that we said so confidently after Motegi. He was awful, atrocious, and all the rumblings going on behind us. He's tested this bike, he hasn't tested that bike. He said about this, she said Valentino Rossi, And it's like, oh, come on, really?
It's so noisy down there, and now they are down. I'm glad they wrapped up everything. To be honest with you, Mark getting injured probably happened at the best time. Because there's nothing left in the championship. They've wrapped up the teams, the constructors, and the riders. The independent's already been wrapped up. There's nothing left to do for the next couple of races. So getting Mark out, Bagnaia having problems, suddenly at the front again, you've got 2020, you've got Aprilia, KTM, even Trackhouse looking like on the system Aprilia, looking good.
It's been brilliant last couple of weeks.
Yeah, this is going to be a great end to the season. And Mark, take the time off. You've won it. Take the season off.
Yeah, Denver's chimed in with his hot. The Lando versus Oscar showdown is now on for the rest of the year. Yeah, I quite agree. Not to the McLaren celebration without Oscar Piastri, who was having his bot while he was having
he was in media pen, wasn't he? And he shouldn't be able to. When the McLaren boys annoy us, let's just remember it could be Max winning.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree, Ben. I don't disagree.
Yeah, but I don't know. Not feeling it yet. Not feeling it. I think
they haven't had a proper ding-dong battle, have they? Which really,
they've got the best car, but they're not being allowed to race.
No,
McLaren don't know what to do.
Or papaya rules.
This is how do I put this? This is what it's like when hippies run the team. Is that fair? It's weird, isn't it? Peace and love, man. Peace and love. Don't fight. It's all good. Papaya rules. No. Get the fights out. Get the fists out. This is why Toto should be allowed. A loud, angry Austrian knows how to make the team work.
Maybe now the constructors is done, we might see it a bit more. Let's hope that we do for this remaining run to the end of the season. That it's going to be
Cota's critical.
Yeah, it's going to be big. Crystal agrees with Ben. Oscar Ronaldo might be annoying, but it's still more interesting than Max winning everything. And we saw Crystal's pick a winner. Picks there as well. She's going with the number 6 Porsche on Saturday and Blaney to win at Las Vegas. Good track for Team Penske.
6.
Yes. There's so many. It's just hard to remember. Quickly, let's revert back to Mandalika. Moto 2 wasn't a very good race, but Manuel Gonzalez being chucked out after he finished second has got that back on again. With Morera beating him, and then Gonzalez, Yaman Gonzalez being thrown out, and Roeda coming from, he may as well have been in the centre of Lombok. He was so far back on the grid. I did every week. He's the David Alonso of this year.
Oh, and winning the title, of course. Let's not forget. He was champion now. Yeah, Forgot
The
about
first
that.
Andalusian to win a championship.
He's so good.
Madness.
I think we've got everything's winding down now, but we've still got a lot of good racing to happen, and I like that. And let's not forget with MotoGP, Australia's next.
Yeah,
I love Australia. One of my races. Yeah.
Touring cars. Tom Ingram, congratulations to him. Second championship. Wrapped it up with a race to spare on Sunday.
Yeah, he was good. It was meh, yeah, for me. Good touring cars. Meh. Very good, but meh. Not enough excitement for me.
Wasn't as good as last year, for sure. Ford looked like they've fallen off. Either Ford have fallen off more than we thought they had, or Hyundai have just, or the Team Virtue have just done a better job to catch them up, because Sutton's essentially second half of the year just been a bit meh.
Meh. Yeah, it's always been meh. I can't really see what JP's coming in with it. Jason Plato, with everything coming in. Hate to join me late, so late. Dare I say Sunday Roval was a hot? I'd say it was. Yes. It flew by. 3 hours flew by. What was it? AJ at the line, going backwards, and then also we had Chastain backwards after hitting Hamlin at the chicane, but Logano getting through to the round of 8. If Logano wins this year in an odd year, I'll be furious.
And myself and Matthew talked about this during the call. Larson and Bell battling each other and SVG hard. People probably sitting there going, well, what does it matter? They're not going to beat him anyway. Playoff points available. Big. Next 3 weeks are huge. And if one of them had beaten SVG, and someone's got to at some point, and Bell is mightily annoyed that he can't do it, every single time he gets beaten, you can see there's more smoke coming out the ears of Christopher Bell, that he keeps being beaten by SVG.
Are you guys looking forward to Talladega, by the way? Because you're on the call for that on JBM, and the viewing figures at 40,000.
Yeah, we're doing that and Martinsville.
You're doing the two, yeah, because we're
Vegas.
Good luck, 40,000.
Well, let's hope so. I don't like. I'm not is Las Vegas being later than normal, which means I can't do it.
Confusing me. Oh.
Why can't it start at 3 o'clock and it's at 5? It's just too late for me. Looking forward to being back on for Dega, Martinsville, and Phoenix to finish the year.
We'll be back. So we're at Vegas. We're not at Talladega. We're not at Martinsville, but we are at Phoenix. That's the end of the year for us. Yeah. But I am on also Xfinity this weekend, so that's how it works. So you guys get to call in who goes into the championship for.
Yep, it's going to be Matt and Seth for us on Sunday. Bell is currently -4 going to Vegas. If he'd won on Sunday, he'd be +1. The points, apart from Logano, who's 20 odd behind, it's just so close, which means these next 3 weeks are going to be just mental.
I never thought I'd say this, but I'm enjoying the NASCAR season more than I'm enjoying Formula One. It's weird, isn't it? You're sort of going like, yeah, the right people are in the right positions, apart from Joey Logano.
We could also, just previewing forward also to something that's happening this weekend, we could have Top Rack wrap up Superbike at Estoril at the weekend, which would be good. And it's been a great season in World Superbike again this year.
I hope he does, because I've got somebody down over the weekend at Jerez, where if I don't have to be in the commentary box, I'll be very happy about that. Gives us more time on the Sunday, which is good before we have to run to the box for the sprint weekend, which is Formula One. This weekend, Estoril at World Superbikes, NASCAR Cup Las Vegas, and the IMSA Motor Petit Le Mans 10 hours. But on our side of it as well, this is how our shows are going to look, with our upcoming schedule, of course, as we just reading Matthew quickly. And all those yelling about how the regular season doesn't matter refuse to admit that Ross Chastain was at one stage win at any point in the season away from not needing to dump Hamlin. It all matters. Yeah. I must admit, I quite like the not Denny Hamlin playoff run. Yeah. Tanner's
Tanner's rant on Sunday night was very right. well said. I have to agree.
3 hours did fly by at the Roval. Yeah. It was good.
Perhaps for the last time.
Check out Tanner's rant. I hope not, because it's good. But do check out Tanner's rant, because it was fantastic. I mean, I saw it on Monday morning. Matt, give me one thing that's going to happen this weekend. Give me one word as to what we can expect because it's going to kick off in it.
Just Bathurst. That's the word. Oh, where is it? That's not here. It's not near me. Oh, here it is.
Oh
no. Well, here it
Hang
is,
on.
but I've only got half a mountain left because my thing's broken.
You've got a heart. I've realised. Hang on. I've got two. I have a bag full.
Oh.
Yes. My wonderful girlfriend bought me 2 caps for the Quick Fit British Touring Car Championship.
Very good.
There's the Quick Fit cap. There's the BTCC and 2025 on it. So that's going to be the one. But I've got one I can wear during NASCAR this weekend. Are you ready?
Go on.
Are you ready for it? I'm putting it on and I'm telling you, Matt. Goodyear. I can wear the Goodyear cap for this weekend. How about that? So there we go. I've got the Quick Fit for touring cars, but I've got a Goodyear that I can happily wear now during NASCAR. I count that as a bit of NASCAR merch.
Until it's all going wrong, and you can throw it across the box when the tyres are blowing up after 3 laps.
I was like, God damn it! We've not got a race. We've got a yellow. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. I just want to go to sleep. But then here's the Quick Fit one as well. So yes, all very nice. So thank you, Nina, for those. They're absolutely wonderful.
Before we go, one very, very quick note, and Kobe mentioned Mark Marquez's injury. Gravel traps at Mandalika.
Yeah.
Rubbish. He was fine.
They couldn't stop that.
Zeki ran into the back of him. He was fine sliding. Sliding across on his front at 150 miles an hour until he hit the raised gravel trap, and that was it. Bang, up in the air, broken, or done whatever he's done to his shoulder. Rubbish.
He's broken something that nobody's ever broken in motorcycle racing before.
It's about right for Mark Marquez, isn't it?
Of course he has. It's like if this doesn't go off on me, let me know if I disappear. Am I still there?
Yeah.
Right. It's here. It's there. It's those 2 things just at the top of your collarbone area. No one's ever broken those in motorcycle racing before, ever. How? It said it's something to do with the way he hit the ground, that his neck was so far forward and his back was so far back, because usually it's protected by the bump and the back of him. But it just hit it at the wrong angle with that raised gravel trap you're on about. It broke it. Only Mark Marquez can break something that no one else has broken ever before. Fantastic.
Sums the guy up in a nutshell. I won the championship and then I've broken myself.
Now he's going to do another comeback next year. I still win.
Come back at Portimao and win by 30 seconds. You watch.
See,
I was only playing with you.
Yeah. You thought I was injured. Haha, I'm not really. Then Top Rat comes in next year as well, and all of a sudden them 2 just digging each other. Bring it on. Okay, he and Collins both the same injury in 2025. Yeah, same injury actually that Connor had. Exactly what he did as well, actually. So you see it a lot in accidents like that. NB2 years Goodyear, correct?
Yes, they do.
It's an NB2 cap. I can wear it on Saturday night as well. Hey. See, the Goodyear cap's going to get more use.
Just to add to Joe's point about Connor and Mark, it's a good job Alex Palou didn't break himself at some point. Because they were all 3 of our dominating people from the year would have broken the same thing.
I've got a lot of caps now, I just realised. I really need to get some shelves up in this new redecorated room of mine. Okay, so taking a look at our upcoming schedule, you can stay tuned for the Grid Live pre-race previewing NASCAR. Sunday, the Grid Live wrap-up shortly after the NASCAR Cup Series race at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. And Monday, Grid Encore is at 7 p.m. Eastern, recapping Xfinity at Las Vegas and Arca West at the Las Vegas Bull Ring. Just quickly on that as well, as we heard on Monday as well, Ben, I'm going to miss you, mate, and Brandon, I hope you stay with us as well if you want to. But Ben, wonderful, my friend as well, coming into that as well. We're going to have to work together a lot more as well in the future. Now, please do continue to subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can thank you for helping us reach 1,700 subscribers. We're now inching closer to our next milestone of 2,000 subscribers. You can hit the bell icon to get notifications so you'll know when we go on the air. And you can follow all of our social media platforms and visit Grid Network TV gridnetwork.com. You can take 5 minutes to invest in the Grid Network through Patreon. You can join Colin, Mark, Michelle, Robin, David, Matthew, and our newest Patreon supporter, Crystal, who all invest each month in the Grid Network as well. Crystal, I know you've been watching tonight. Welcome to you as well. We encourage you all to join these fine folks, help us keep us on the air. And once we hit $500 per month, we can afford to send our team to the track more often and continue to grow our media outlet. The link to all of that is in the video description below. And Ben, do not be a stranger at all. Come back anytime as well. You're always welcome as a guest. And also, we've got to work together in the comms box. You are amazing in that role, more than you actually know. If you want to make a one-time donation, you can click on the Buy Me a Coffee link, get your name on the board, and invest as much as you want. Consider buying a specific only personality cup of coffee, and they will thank you on the air as well. So, for Kobe Lambeth and Matt White from the Grid Endurance Performance Index, I'm Joshua Birch from Jamie Motorsports. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.